welcome to Frankie Pankie's Journey. We are here today having some delicious barbecue hot dogs on the BBQ. And I have chili cheese dogs, and I actually love sauerkraut now. I didn't like it when I was a kid, but as I've gotten to be older as an adult, I absolutely love sauerkraut. So I put sauerkraut on top of my chili cheese dogs, and then I had chili cheese strips, and they're actually strips. They actually look like this. So of course this one doesn't have any chili on it, but it will eventually. Really good. So I have those, and then I have my iced tea. So I got chili cheese strips and chili cheese dogs with sauerkraut. So good. So these are actually kind of hard to find, these chips, actually, because they're made by Tostitos, and so not every store has them. They have like the other kind, but not the strip kind. And actually will say strips, so. They're so fresh, they're like breaking, guys. I did put a lot of chili on here, but it doesn't look like it, but. Okay. Let me see here. There's one, guys. Really good. So, this will probably be, well, it's going to be the last video I'll be doing from home. The next video you see, you guys, I'll be on the road because I go out this week, so, to train. And so I'll be out on the road. And I'm so excited, you guys. I haven't worked in 8 months, so being out of work for 8 months is like, it's had its pluses and it's had its negatives for sure. But at the beginning, it was because I had gotten an injury from work, and so I was out kind of recuperating and whatnot, so it's kind of good. Then when I decided to go back to work, it was in February, and then of course the pandemic happened. So I've been out for 8 months, so this is going to be really good. I'm so excited, you guys. I feel so refreshed and energized to go back to work. I'm like ready. So it's nice to be home with family, and it's nice to be home chilling and doing things you normally get to do. But after 8 months, you're like pretty much done with it. So plus I'm excited about getting back on the road and seeing God's country. It's like so beautiful to just drive. So so good, you guys. So I've been getting into this series, Hulu, called Nashville. Of course, if you didn't already know, I really love my country music, but I really like this series. It's really cute and really like down to earth and wholesome, and it is really a good show. So if you haven't seen it, you may be interested in seeing it. It's called Nashville. I actually think it's been on a while, so it's not like something new. It's just new to me. They actually have quite a few seasons, so I'm in the first season. So I actually thought about watching Milan on Disney Plus, but then when I saw it was $30, I was like, nah, I'll pass. Like, I don't feel like spending $30 to see Milan on Disney Plus. So I'll just wait. But it does look pretty good. I had a big social or a big party or something to watch Milan, that would be kind of cool. But yeah. Yeah. Look at that, guys. Oh yeah. Oh my god, it's so I read a story earlier this week, and it kind of like brought me back to like my own childhood. About this kid getting bullied and how it really traumatized them in their adulthood. And so I started thinking about how I got bullied when I was younger and how really things have not changed from when I was a kid to now when it comes to bullying, only that more people are aware of being bullied now than they were when I was a kid. I love to load on the sauerkraut, you guys. It's like so good. And look, it's like dropping out. And I just gotta load it right back up. It is so good. Delicious. So when I was a kid, growing up, I was actually really thin. I know it doesn't look like it now because I'm like a grown woman, but I was like so skinny growing up, like a little noodle, literally like a noodle. I remember my parents used to have to get me like junior clothes all the way up until like high school. Like I'm talking about in the kids section, like junior section. All the way through high school, my mom had to buy me like Kmart stuff, Sears, anything that she can get like in the junior section. My parents didn't really shop like at high-end places, really. It was like Kmart, you know, and Sears. Occasionally we'd step up to JCPenney's, but you know, it was like simple living back then. Kmart was a happening place. Blue light specials and all. So, because I was so skinny, my parents always would buy me one size bigger than what I was. Just because I could grow into the next size later down the road or whatever. Well, because of that, I always got teased. And I got bullied, and I got pushed around about it, and, you know, name calling, all kinds of stuff. So I started pushing back, you know, when people teased me and, you know, wanted to pick fights with me or whatever. I started defending myself. Hey, it can be really traumatizing when you're a kid to be bullied. My mom was always in parent-teacher meetings, principal office, because I was always in detention, always going off campus, hiding in the library, hiding in the bathroom, anywhere I could hide just to get away from the bullying. So my dad decided that it was time for me to defend myself. So he enrolled me in karate. So when I was younger, I was in karate, into a lot of like karate championships, got all the way up to brown belt, you know, working them nunchucks and all kinds of tournaments. And so I decided that I was, you know, able to defend myself from all these bullies and being pushed and beaten up and that kind of stuff. So because I felt, you know, I could actually take care of myself now, I in turn kind of became a bully myself. And started like beating up the kids that were beating up me and defending myself. I don't know why, but these, I put a lot of chili on it. I don't know why, but it's like looking dry, but it's really not. So, as I got a little bit older, I would like take kids in the back behind the school building and beat the shit out of them. Give them black eyes. You know, basically bully them not to say anything. I was pretty rough, you know, growing up because I got bullied so much that I just became very defensive. So my dad always said, this was his one rule in order for me not to get in trouble. He goes, you won't get in trouble if they throw out the first punch. So they have to throw out the first punch, because that would be called self-defense. So if you throw out the first punch, then you're going to get in trouble. So I always made sure that they threw out the first punch, so I wouldn't get in trouble when I got home. Pretty good rule my dad had, even though it was terrible to say it that way, but that was his rule. They can throw out the first punch, but you can't. I was like, okay. So, always before they threw out the first punch, I always had my, you know, Rocky Balboa arms up and ready to defend myself. Because I wasn't going to let him do this to me. And so I was like, okay, you can throw out the first punch, but I'm going to block it, you know. So, every time I got blocked. So, there was a time my parents put me on all kinds of sports, you know, to try to, you know, get away from the bullying and try to be a part of, you know, just, you know, activities, you know, as a young kid. So, I was on a bowling league when I was a young kid. And I remember I was in a championship and I was bowling with one of my mom's friends from work. And I was bowling with her daughter. And she was like a really rough around the edges, like gangster rough. So she always kind of like protected me a little bit when we were like, you know, kids. And so one time we were done with the tournament and we were getting our trophies, and my mom and her mom were up at the cashier checking out. Oh my God. And all of a sudden, a fight broke out, and I was part of the fight. And it started the fight, but I ended the fight pretty well. And somebody got a black eye for me. And the police were called. My mom was devastated. Pulled me apart. Her brother pulled her apart. We were still ready to go at it with these girls that were like gangster girls. And kind of very, yeah, it was pretty rough when I was a kid, just because I had been bullied, you know. So you take that when you get, I don't know, it could be a reverse effect. When you get bullied when you're a kid, then in return you end up becoming a bully sometimes. So that's what happened to me. Because you become so defensive. Which is terrible, but so I read this article on how this guy became like a youth counselor because of how he got bullied when he was a kid. So I thought I'd share that story with you guys because it kind of reminded me when I was a kid and how I got bullied and how I was a fighter and whatnot because of it. So just a little bit about me in that aspect when I was a kid. But you guys, this is like so good still. Look at that. Like scrumptious. So I hope you guys are having like a pretty good week so far. I mean, it is the beginning of the week, so I'm hoping that you're having a really good week. I'm sure most of your kids are back to school either this week or last week they were. So looks like most places are getting back to normalcy a little bit. I want to count all those chips. So my mama was in the kitchen making cookies today. So she still got some in the oven. So I was like, oh, this cookie smells so good. Chocolate chip cookies with nuts. I absolutely love chocolate chip cookies with nuts. So good. So this kitchen smells like so like yummy. So I just want to say, you guys, that I really, really appreciate you watching all my videos. And I really appreciate you guys watching them to the end because I work so hard on these videos. It takes a lot of work to do these videos. It might not look like it because it's just like setting up the food in front of the camera and you're just eating. But there's so much more work to it than just doing that. I mean, it's like a half a day production, to be honest with you. Because you either get the food the night before or the morning of, and then you have to like prep it, and then you have to like, you know, clean up afterwards. So that's a lot of work. And then after you're done doing that, then you have to edit it, you know, if you want to edit it, or you have to upload it. That takes a process. It's all a process. So it's like, you know, it could be up to 6 hours, sometimes 8, you know, from beginning to end. So when you guys say I watched your video to the end, it just like really, really is exciting for me, and I really appreciate it because, like I said, it takes so much work and so much effort to put into these videos, and it's not just setting it up. It's a lot of work. So I've been trying to think about like creative ways I could set it up in the truck and really be able to showcase the food and stuff like that, because I know once I get back on the road, I'm going to have a hard time finding good places to eat because they're kind of slim to nothing. So I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. To the very last second of the video. It's like awesome. I get comments that say, I watched your video today, and I'm like, yay! I get so excited over it. I always think about how my cousin, Sauce Queen, used to say, oh, cuz it took me all day to do this video, and I'd be like, how can it take it all day? But now that I'm doing it, I can see where she was taking all day, because it does. It literally takes all day to do it. Very time consuming. So, I just want you to know that I appreciate you guys watching to the end. Oh yeah. I know, I'm going to leave those 2 chips because there's not enough chili and it's kind of dry. Which I'm disappointed because I had a lot of chili on here, but I don't know what happened. So I buy Huber Nationals hot dogs. They're the best hot dogs for me. I don't like those other cheap hot dogs that you can get, like the ballpark. This don't really do anything for me. Even though they're skinny and they're kind of small, however, it reminds me of Wiener Schnitzel, which is a place here in California. I absolutely love Wiener Schnitzel hot dogs. They're so good. So they're skinny, but they're good. And hot dogs aren't that great for you anyway. So Huber Nationals are pretty much the best ones to eat. So somebody asked me if I don't drink all my tea, do I throw it away after the show? No. I'm a tea girl, so if I don't drink it on the show, I drink it after the show, and I drink tea all day long. I just carry tea around me in a cup all day long. So I never waste my tea, you guys. It's a prized possession. It's like somebody walking around with coffee all the time. Only mine's tea. Or like a beer or whatever. I know, a terrible thing to compare it to, but that's what that is what my tea is like. So, okay guys, so next time you see me, I'm going to be on the road. So I'll leave here this week to Minnesota. I'll be in Minnesota, which is kind of funny because my mom and I were talking and we were teasing each other. And she's like, 20 years ago, the day you're going to be leaving, which I won't tell you what day I'm leaving, but 20 years ago from the day you're leaving is when you met your ex-husband in Minnesota. So you know that song, All Your Exes Are in Texas? Well, my exes aren't in Texas, they're in Minnesota. So 20 years later, I'm going back to Minnesota for training, which is where I met my ex-husband at, is through job training through a company I worked for called the Hometown Buffet. So now I'm going through training 20 years later in Minnesota, in the same area that I met my ex-husband. So I told my mom, Mom, do you want to bring back home a man from Minnesota? She goes, hell no, I don't. Needless to say, that marriage didn't work out too well. She don't want to remind her from Minnesota. I started laughing so hard. So anyways, that's a good ending to this video. It's just a little giggles, shits and giggles. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and come join me on the truck and enjoy the road. And now that I've reached 1,000 subscribers, let me correct myself, 1,000 subscribers, I now have my community tab available. So now I can use the community tab, and I'm going to use that to post like different videos or different pictures of like my travels on the road. So stay tuned to the community tab and take a look at that, and we'll see you next time, you guys. Thanks for joining Frankie Pankie's Journey. Bye.